Brentie boy, episode 8, welcome back.
Timo, fine and you, how's things?
Living the dream, boy.
Yeah, we're not going to cover any Six Nations this week. We're going to give Six Nations a break. There's no Six Nations this weekend, so we'll cover it in our next episode. We will be missing an episode on Monday because of just hectic schedules, and then we'll do a URC review and Six Nations preview in next week by next week Friday.
Yes, it should be up by Friday morning, Thursday night maybe, but probably Friday morning will be safe. And then there's only the one URC match that weekend in any case, so we'll quickly run through that on that weekend as well. But it's the back-to-back weekends now for everybody as well, so it's going to be an interesting weekend though.
Yeah, definitely. We got a lot of Six Nations to cover. We'll do previews and predictions. I'm sure people that have been watching our channel since we started knows that our predictions are up for shit. So don't take our word for it. But yeah, let's jump straight into it.
Excellent. What do
So
we have first?
The first game we've got Munster vs Edinburgh, which will be played tomorrow, Friday, 28th of February, at Musgrave Park in Ireland at 21:35 South African time.
Okay. It's a hard one though, because it's people without the Six Nation teams, and this is what's made our predictions so difficult when it comes to the URC.
Well, luckily for Munster, they've got very few internationals because they're not Leinster. I know they do have Peter O'Mahony and Conor Murray, both of which are retiring now. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't see Edinburgh doing this. Edinburgh also missing. They're missing Don van der Merwe, Skuman. So I also don't see that. I don't see them doing it. In the last 5 games, I don't think Edinburgh has ever beaten Munster in the URC. And in the last 5 games, Munster have taken it every single time.
Yeah, I can also not see them doing it. I can't. I don't think Edinburgh has it in them, and even in a full strength side, I think this would have been a difficult match for Edinburgh to pull through. So I already, my Superbru has been on point, so I picked Munster with the easy 10-point win there.
Munster actually has a new coach. They've got the coach from the Chiefs, McMillan, who's left to start coaching Munster. I'm not exactly sure from when, but yeah, that can only be good.
Well, I think it makes logical sense for me, and this is not dissing any of the coaches in general, but I think they realize that to compete with Southern Hemisphere rugby, you need to have coaches that obviously understand Southern Hemisphere rugby. I mean, look at for example, if we look at what Franco Smith has done, where he's coaching, it's just logical. And the same, I mean, if you look at Michael Chika and stuff, everywhere that the Southern Hemisphere coaches come in, the teams start playing a much more expanded brand of rugby. And like we've discussed in previous episodes, a lot of the European teams have extremely lethal backlines. So if they actually combine that or use that better, and then it would be much better for them, in the bigger picture of things. And wherever, I mean, Michael Chika didn't have a great record in the Southern Hemisphere, but I think he's with Leicester Tigers now.
He's left Leicester Tigers.
But under his reign, Leicester Tigers did actually look like a performing team. So yeah. I can't really badmouth him for that. And in all fairness, prior to that he was at Argentina, and Argentina didn't really look that bad under him.
I think Argentina look better with their new coach. I mean, Argentina to me are one of the teams that are up there. They are up there. They are up and down. They do get smashed by teams with massive amounts, but they can also smash teams by massive amounts. But I also know that Michael Chika is actually the favourite to take over the Wales position. So
yeah, I don't know if that's going to be beneficial for Wales, to be brutally honest. I think I
They
would.
need Franco Smith. They need him.
Well, everybody needs him. That's the big problem. It's going to be a challenge. I think we're a bit off topic now from the URC, but it does come down to coaching. And I think when you look at the Southern Hemisphere coaches where they go, most of the teams, especially on club level, generally start performing a lot better than they did, prior to not having Southern Hemisphere coaches.
Well, if you look at well, if you look at the next match, you've got Zebra versus Dragons, which are the two worst teams in the competition. Zebra actually hasn't looked too bad. They had a surprise win. I'm trying to remember against who that was. They had a surprise win, but yeah, I think this will.
Their surprise win was against Edinburgh.
Oh yes, you're right. You're right.
But they also looking at it. I know Ulster probably not ranked the highest on the log, but they beat Ulster. And they beat Ospreys, who's also not, at the bottom of the log. I mean, yeah, it's the lower ranked sides, okay, but in general, this is where the log comes. This year's URC is very, very interesting compared to previous years because from 8th place all the way to 15th place, there's only a 7-point difference.
Yeah.
In log points, and if you look at that. If Zebra all of a sudden just click and they don't lose another match, they can easily find themselves, playing in the top 8.
I don't think it will happen, but it will be surprising. I don't know. I think Zebra could probably beat the Dragons, but I don't see them beating any other team. Not being horrible against Zebra. Okay, and they did beat Edinburgh, but to be honest with you, they are a team that's I think. Won't be there for much longer. When looking at the log, I just can't see them beating any of the other teams.
Well, it's going to be their 12th game now, right? For both those sides, and the Dragons have literally only won one match.
Yeah.
And looking at the points, the points difference, the Dragons are almost on minus 140 points.
Yeah.
And Zebra minus 82. It's a lot. There's a big points difference in them. I went on an easy bet there. I just said, Zebra at home against clearly a not informed Dragons. I actually picked Zebra with a win of 14 though.
I'm gonna go with a bit less. I think the Dragons can be sticky sometimes. They did almost beat the Sharks, but that's not saying much. But I think I'm gonna say Zebra by 10. Zebra by 7.
Going half of what I went. Okay.
And then the next game, one of the games that I'm most excited for, actually the game that I'm most excited for this URC is the Lions versus Sharks at the Emirates Park. I don't have the Lions team announcement yet. I couldn't find it. But luckily, thanks to us, the Sharks like to announce the team a bit earlier, and we've got theirs. I don't know if you want to start by going through the team.
Yes, just pull it up there for us. I can't see on your side at the moment, but
I've got it open.
I think the big thing there is going to be the traveling. I just think the Lions have it in them to beat the Sharks.
Of course.
And it, like we discussed, it's the whole back-to-back thing with the Lions and the Sharks because they're playing this weekend in Joburg, and then next weekend they're playing in Durban.
Yeah. It's gonna be a very exciting little test series, that they've got there. But I don't know. I'm excited for this game. I don't. This can go either way for me. Obviously the Sharks are losing or has lost a lot of big names like André Streisand, Apelele Fassi, Ebenet Sabet, James Venter, Makazole Mapimpi is still suspended. Manu Tutuka, Oxenche. So, but as we've seen with the Bulls, now I know I'm not gonna be naive and say I don't know that the Sharks or the Bulls should have actually won that game with the set piece dominance that they had. We see the Sharks culture getting better and better and better. And I don't think it was right, or it was where it was supposed to be, but I feel like it's getting much, much better, I feel like the Sharks, and I said it before, are learning to play without their big names, so-called, They still do have a lot of big names, but they're learning to play without those players that really make a massive impact. And I think when those players start coming back, it's only going to bolster the team. And I've said it before. This game is a very big game for both of them. The Sharks want to sort of stay in that top 4 bracket so that they can retain home ground advantage when we do get to playoffs. And the Lions need this game to just get into the top 8. So I think both teams will be desperate. I think Lions might be a bit more desperate. But yeah, if you go through the team, and Tutu Kunu, I like him. He's not the best scrummager, but he is a beast. He really is. I know that you're not the biggest fan of him, but I like him. Bongi Munambi, solid hooker. Our number 1 choice hooker for the Springboks for very long. I don't know for how long more, but with all the young hookers that are coming through, but still a solid player. Rowan Dreyer, ex-Lion player actually. Dion Slabbert, I haven't seen too much of Dion Slabbert yet. Jason Jenkins, I was so excited when they bought him. Then they bought him, and he didn't make much of an impact. But I feel like the last 1 or 2 games that he played, you can actually see, why they invested in him. He came from Leinster actually. Tino Mavisere, the Zimbabwean international. We saw what a massive game he had. He had a massive game against the Bulls. I never liked him before. No, not that I didn't like him. I just didn't know much about him. But he had that massive break and then scored a try against the Bulls, and he was just a machine. He actually had man of the match for that game. Then Vincent Tutuka, also one of my favorite players. I know once again you don't like him. To me, he's one of the best players that the Sharks have. And I'm going to say it. And I think he's been a bit snubbed with the Springbok captain. He hasn't been called up to the lineman camp. Not saying that there isn't best loose forwards or better loose forwards than him. I just think that we should give him a chance and see what he can do. Pepsi Buthelezi, also a hard player. This guy always gets into a fight every single game. So against the Lions, we can expect that to happen again. Jaden Hendrikse, also a solid Springbok scrummy. I obviously think that Grant Williams is better, but we got Grant Williams coming off from the bench. Ethan Hooker, I cannot rant and rave more about how good this guy is. This guy is going to be a solid starter for the Springboks in the years to come. You can see it. Very young. Started off as a he plays most of his game as a center, but I think he looks amazing on wing. Very big, physical, fast player. Lukanyam was the best center in the world at the stage. He looked very good against the Bulls as well. So I think I'm actually very happy with that. Obviously, Andre Estreisen would have been my first choice on 12, but how can you complain when you have Lukanyam to replace him? Jerenzo Chilis, also one of the young, very, very good up-and-comers. We spoke about Jerenzo Chilis so many times on this channel before. He's just always on fire, and I think he's just getting better, especially with feeding off from Lukanyam, like we've spoken about before, and I think he's going to make a massive impact. He's actually, the matchup between him and Hengu van Wyk is going to be probably one of the best matchups for in the weekend. Both of them fighting for that 13 shirt, in the up and coming for the Springboks. I know Jesse Kill's got it at the moment, but Jesse Kill's also on the other side of 30. Yao Penke, I never used to like him, and then he had an amazing game against the Bulls. But yeah, let's see. Hopefully, he can be as good as that. Jordan Hendrikse, I think Jordan Hendrikse is best at 10. Still very good at 15. But yeah, my first choice 15. My first choice. Okay, my second choice fly off in all of our fly offs that we've got in the 4 South African unions, and that's saying that with Mani Labok, Sasha's actually my first choice. So yeah, Ethan Bester, the surprise call up for the alignment camp. I'm still a bit unsure why he got that. Not that he's bad. I don't think he's proved himself that much. Dean Blair, Vincent Koch, the old veteran. I still think he's very, very good. Still in form. And you can see that Plumtree is actually going for sort of an impact bench. When he's got players like Vincent, Sia, Grant on the bench. Lapis Labuskaghni. Sia Kolisi is coming from Springbok rest. Maybe, hopefully, he hasn't rested too much and hasn't gotten fat like his old Racing 92 coach used to tell him. Grant Williams, best man in South Africa in the world. In South Africa at the time, at the moment, Franscha Venter, he's lost it a bit for me. And Edwin Cater, also one of the young players that are really performing.
Yes, definitely exciting team the Sharks have. Considering, like you said, now it's a case of you've got so many first choice players that's injured. I saw that at the bottom of your slide. You had the injury list there, and I mean you're still looking at your number one choice center is probably out in Andre Esterhuizen, and then you're still playing Lucanio Am and Jerenza Julius. I mean that's just
beautiful pairing,
really amazing to have that depth. And I mean you're putting Fassi's out injured, and then
you got Jordan Hendrikse.
You're starting Jordan Hendrikse at fullback, which I still as ironic as it must be, you screaming for the Sharks and me screaming for the Stormers, choosing the opposition teams as our number one choice for fly-off. Where I choose, Jordan
Hendrikse.
As my first choice that I would play in a Springbok setup. But as you mentioned, you look at the Sharks. They have a game in hand up until next weekend. Next weekend, the URC balances out again, where everybody is then on equal points, on equal matches played. So by the end of next weekend, all the teams will be on 12 matches. And the Sharks sitting on 34, and the Lions sitting on 23. And it's difficult because the Lions have a lot to do against harder opposition. To get back into the top 8, and now they're playing a star-studded Sharks team 2 weekends in a row, one at home, which I think they probably. I feel they're going to edge it. I do feel the Lions are going to edge it, but I think they're going to get massacred in Durban.
I think the Sharks are going to win this. To be honest with you, I honestly think the Sharks will take a lot of confidence from that win against the Bulls. I know that they've been away for a while, for 2 weeks, but they haven't been that far away. But still, just coming back to what you said about the table, I agree with you 100%. The Lions need this win. They've got they really need each point that they can get to make those playoffs. And the sad thing is, if you look at the team that they've got, they should be doing a lot better, they've lost half the games already. And we know the Lions can beat any team at any given day. The Lions they really do, have a spark, and it doesn't always take off, but when it does, it's really something to witness. If we go through, so like I said, we don't have the players here, but we sort of know more or less who they're going to choose, because they have their set players that aren't injured, or so we know they're going to choose Edel van der Merwe, who is a very, very good. Very, very good wing. He played for the Springboks. He had an amazing debut for the Springboks. Unfortunately, he got injured when he went back to the Currie Cup, and then we didn't see much more of him in the Springbok shirt after that. We've got Marius Lowe, who's very good. We've seen the impact he can make. Henko van Wyk, like I said, Henko van Wyk and Lorenzo Julius, that's going to be a matchup to witness. Henko van Wyk are very, very different players, but very good in their own respect. Henko van Wyk is a very physical player, and he is such a beast. He was also injured for a while, but I think that he was. I think actually he was very unlikely to be injured last year during the Springbok call-ups, because I think he would have gotten called up then. Quayne Horn, behind Apelele Fassi, I think Quayne Horn is the best fullback that we've got. Even Warwick Khan's very good. We've got very good fullbacks.
Look, like we discussed the whole thing with Warwick. I mean, you look at this now. I feel that it's a lot. There's a lot of opportunity here for the Lions. I predicted and I locked in my picks because I wanted to see what the other people were picking in our thing.
I haven't even picked yet.
I did pick the Lions by 2. I think the Lions are going to edge it, and I think they're just going to edge it purely because of home ground advantage and their desire. But I did, however, pick them for quite a significant loss next weekend, against the Sharks. But you look at it, it's a solid forwards pack versus a solid forward pack. You've got Ntlabakanye, probably for me at the moment the best option we've got on number 3.
Yeah,
and defensively, it's not just that he's a good scrummager. Defensively, that guy hits like a steam train running downhill.
Yeah, he'll break your whole body trying to run through him.
I do think the Sharks edge the Lions on lock quite significantly.
I don't know. Etienne Oosthuizen has been performing. So I
just think the Sharks just have a bit more. In them. Loose forwards for me, to be honest with you, it's a 50-50 for me. I think the Sharks, having injuries and stuff, and Kulisi starting from the bench, I think is going to be significant. I don't think on scrum off it's also a 50-50 for me. Morne van der Berg and Jaden Hendricks, I think they pretty much on par for me at the moment.
Yeah.
I thought Grant Williams coming up, probably the best number 9. The Lions are battling on 10 for me. They've got a lot of potential on 10, but that potential still needs to be unlocked.
Yeah.
I think that's the one spot for me where the Lions are probably going to struggle. On wings, okay, the Lions have Edward van der Merwe. Kriel hasn't been, been that hot. Center-wise, 2 very different center pairings. You're looking at the Lions going for that raw power, that raw running, and I feel the Sharks are probably going for that bit of more flair.
Punk, yes, 100%.
I do think that the matchup between Henko van Wyk and Lorenzo Julius is going to be something to see. And then on fullback, obviously, Quayne Horn not going up against Apelele Fassi, which would probably be the matchup that we want to see.
Yes.
But he's still going up against Jordan, his ex-teammate and whatnot. And Jordan at the moment as a number 10 and as a number 15, as a fly and a fullback, he can probably slot into any box side and in any one of those positions.
Jordan Hendricks is a utility back. He can play in so many positions and play it so well. He played the center for the Lions before.
Yeah, I wouldn't rate him at center. For me, it's good that he can play that. The one thing I'm scared for Jordan Hendricks is if we look back in a couple of years ago, there was another Sharks player, Brent Russell. He went a similar career in that, never cemented a position, was always playing then fly off, then wing, then fullback and everything, and he never really amounted to anything because he was never in a dedicated position. And I think that's something that Jordan and the coaching staff at the Sharks would definitely need to figure out, because it's going to affect his career in the bigger picture. He needs to cement a spot in the side. It's either going to be fly off or it's either going to be fullback.
Yeah,
at the moment, either one he chooses, he's facing a lot of competition.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I think with this all these 6-2 splits, 7-1 splits, I think the fact that he is such a utility back is going to give him sort of that edge. We saw that 2019 with Frans Steyn. Who could slip into almost any position in the background. In the back line. So I think with the way the Boks are going 6-2, 7-1, limiting the backs they got on the bench. You need someone that can sort of slide in from 10 to 15 if needs be. And I think that is where Jordan Hendricks is going to be invaluable. But yeah, getting back to the Lions predicted team, sort of. I don't know what's wrong with JC Pretoria. He didn't play last weekend, and he's probably their first choice 6. You know, he's the old sevens player, very very good. You know, Jared Keynes, who did play last weekend, was also very good. But I think JC Pretoria is very dangerous. Especially in the breakdown. You've got Ruan Venter. The last time the Bulls, or not the last time, but not too long ago, when the Bulls, the Lions and the Sharks were playing at Emirates Park during the Currie Cup finals, Ruan Venter walked all over Emil van Heerden. Ruan Venter is a monster. What a hard, and I've said this on the channel before as well. I really rate this guy, and I think he gets overlooked a lot. Frank Johan. We are blessed with 8s in South Africa. You know, we've got the likes of Ivan Ruiz, we've got the likes of Cameron Hanekom, and then Frank Johan, who also probably doesn't get spoken of enough. He also a very very good player. A number 8 that actually likes to score a lot of tries. Very physical, very elusive at times. So him, I do think he edges Pepsi for me a bit. But yeah, I think it's going to be a battle. My prediction, though, even though the Lions are going to be desperate and they're going to be hurting, and they're going to be at home, I think the Sharks still get away with the win. We've seen them get away with wins that they probably shouldn't have won. I still think the Sharks will edge this one, and I'm going to say not even edge. I'm going to say the Sharks by 10.
Oh well, at the moment, to just give you that stat, JC is injured.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Okay.
But to give you that stat though, 74% of the predictions made so far says that the Sharks are gonna.
Oh. Yeah.
So we'll see. 26% still not a bad. It's the South African pass rate.
I wouldn't write the Lions off though. Yeah, and like I said before, we've seen them beat some hectic teams, and the Lions can play. And like I said, they should be doing a lot better with the team they've got. They've got some dangerous players, and for the first time they're retaining those dangerous players. I mean, Slabakanya as sign on. Henku van Wyk, Frank Johan. So usually the Lions, as soon as a player gets too good, the bigger clubs buy them. So let's see. I won't be surprised if the Lions win. But yeah, they should be doing a lot better with the team that they've got.
Okay. Next matchup we've got is another big one, because now we're sitting with the unstar-studded Leinster side versus unstar-studded, very average Cardiff side. But Leinster is still unbeaten.
Yeah, Cardiff's coach is busy coaching Wales at the moment. So, look, I'll be honest with you. I think Leinster, we've seen them play before without most of the internationals, and they still did get the result. But yeah,
you can't write Cardiff off, because Cardiff is 6th on the log. So, they're not playing against somebody that's 13th, 14th, or 15th. And mean, last weekend they didn't have a fantastic game against the Ospreys, and the Ospreys are 13th. Now I locked in my picks, which was a mistake, because I don't know why, but I said Leinster's going to win by 14.
I'll go even more than that.
But I don't think it's going to be a big game. I think it's going to be a closer game. I think it's going to be Leinster that still wins it, because they're home. But I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be by 5 points, if it is that much.
I'm going to go with Leinster with 30 points, to be honest with you. I think 30. Yeah, I think Cardiff is missing, obviously, their coach. Leinster. So even though Leinster don't have the likes of Jameson Gibson Park and the 90% of the other, of the other team, they still have players like. Arges Neyman, Jody Barrett, So yeah, let's see. Let's see how it goes. They still got I forget his name, Kieran Frawley. The guy that beat us at Kings Park. The guy that slotted that last minute penalty kick to win the game against the Springboks at Kings Park. So I think Leinster are going to do it by 30 points.
Okay. Well, do that prediction on Superbru, and then we'll see. Okay, and then next up is another local derby.
Derby, yeah.
With Bulls Bulls versus Sharks at Loftus.
Bulls versus Stormers at Loftus. I'm actually
Bulls
very
versus
excited.
Stormers, yeah, because you're going to watch it.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it. I'm actually going to be there at Loftus. I'm driving up tomorrow morning, and I'll be there for the week. Well, not at Loftus for the weekend, but at Pretoria for the weekend. And I'm very excited for this game. The last time we saw the Bulls play, they played the Lions. They played not as good as they could. They got the win, and you always say the result is all that matters. And then the weekend before that, they didn't. They lost against the Sharks in a dreadful performance. I don't know who the Bulls. We haven't seen either of these teams' team announcements. I'm hoping Cameron Hanekom is back, because Cameron Hanekom versus Evan Roos is just, I just said it 5 minutes ago. We are so blessed at 9, and I think that's going to be such a matchup to watch.
I think the thing is here for me, the Bulls. We kind of know what sides are going to go. I feel that the Stormers have a lot of injuries.
So many.
Yes, and it is affecting them. But I do say, the Bulls at Loftus, much like anything, is going to be a hard team to beat. And then, in all fairness, looking at the last 7 games the Bulls have played, they've lost 2, won 5, and both the ones they've lost were against the Sharks.
Oh yes.
So I picked the Bulls by 12. I actually don't think the Stormers have it in their backup players to go to Loftus and to cause an upset. I would love it if it happens, and I'll be very happy with that incorrect pick on Superbru. But I just can't see the Stormers going to Loftus beating the Bulls. I don't see it. I think it's going to be an easy win for the Bulls.
I think Sasha might be back. I'm not sure. Sasha might be back for the Stormers. Like I said, I actually thought he was going to be back a bit earlier, because we saw him slotting kicks on his birthday, and he was practicing with the Stormers. And I did see that he released a statement saying that he can't wait to get back on the field and sort of help Stormers get out of this step. Warwick Galant, so there is still a lot of good backline players in the Stormers team, even with these massive in this massive injury list that they've got. They've got Stefan Ungerer, who I don't think is looking too bad on 9. Yuri Mattia, I don't know. I don't rate him too much. I know that he is good, and I know he's had his moments. I just think, they're desperately missing money.
No, I can't use Mattia and good in the same sentence. He's I don't know what happened there. Who was scouting that? But of all the fly-offs that you could have possibly scouted, I don't see how that was the choice that you came up with.
Yeah. Well, we know for a fact that the Bulls are gonna, they're gonna throw everything at that they can. They're a very, very hard team. We know how good they've got, the best scrum in the league. We're gonna probably see players like Marco van Staden, play. I know Aldrich Lowe is very injured, which is a big loss to them, but they still have so many good loose forwards that they can replace him with. Volker Lowe, Gerard Steenekamp. I don't know, is Akker van der Merwe injured, because I also didn't see him last weekend. But Johan Grobler, is there. The Bulls are very blessed with the forwards they got. Campilo Gomede, and I always say this, I think the Bulls underutilize that guy because he is very good, But yeah, like I said, the matchup that I'm most excited for, Cameron Hanekom versus Evan Roos. We've seen it before, not too long ago, and it's just something that I don't think I can get enough of.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just also think the Bulls are playing for second place at the moment. They're 2 points behind Glasgow, on the log, and 12 points behind Leinster. So I think first place is definitely out of the question for the Bulls at the moment. But ending second means that unless Leinster keeps on winning, the Bulls could possibly have a home fight.
Yeah. Well, I think the Bulls will retain the top 4 position. I don't think Glasgow will lose. We'll get to Glasgow later. So I think after this weekend, the Bulls probably will still be in third. I think the Bulls will beat Stormers by 12. Okay, so we're done. Then said our next game, Ulster versus Scarlets. The one team that the other national team don't want to touch. Um, you know, Also a struggling team in the URC. I don't know exactly where they are on the log, but I know it's not good. They are 14th on the log. I don't know. The Scarlets are 8th on the log. They lose this game, they most likely going to lose their top 8 position.
Yeah,
You're
I think
difficult.
they're the gatekeeper for the time being. The Scarlets. I picked the Scarlets for a win here, purely because their track record is at the moment better than Ulster's. But I can't see any one of these teams ending up in the top 8 at all. But I do think the Scarlets will easily win this weekend.
I think the Scarlets are going to beat them. I mean, Zebra beat Ulster last weekend. So, yeah, fuck it. Let's go with Scarlets. Then the next, I'm going to say Scarlets by 10.
I said Scarlets by 5. I was a bit more modest.
Then we got Connacht versus Benetton. This is going to be a interesting match because we know Benetton can also beat. I mean, they beat La Rochelle in the Champions Cup, if I'm not mistaken. So we know Benetton can also put in those hectic performances. Connacht are at home. The last time we saw Benetton play was in the URC, and they played against. Who did they play against?
Ulster. They lost. They beat Ulster by 15 points.
But they also lost against the Ospreys.
They lost against the Ospreys by 43 points.
So that's what I'm saying. They're a very up and down team, So they're not a team I'd put money on. But I'll put my Superbru pick on them and say Benetton are going to win it by 7.
Well, I went a bit of a different route in my thinking process. This was my wild card pick for the weekend. I think Connacht at home. Yes, they don't have their major players once again, but this match is actually very evenly predicted. 47% of the people picked it as a win for Connacht, 53% as a win for Benetton. So I do think that Connacht at home is going to be a bit harder for Benetton to win. So I did pick Connacht with 5, and but this was my wild card pick of the weekend. I think if there was going to be an upset, it would probably be in this match.
Oh, you think Connacht's going to take it?
Yes, by 5.
They're missing their beast in Bandiaki. But yeah, I won't be surprised which way it goes. Then the next game, Glasgow Warriors versus Ospreys.
Second on the log versus 13th on the log.
Yeah, I can't see Glasgow losing this.
No. Look, Glasgow is also still short-staffed, for lack of a better term, with all their international players. But I just feel that if I look at the stats on Superbru, the last 3 games the Ospreys had is yes, they beat Benetton by 43, but they also drew with Cardiff, and they lost to Leinster by 3. They beat Scarlets by 1. They lost to Zebra Parma. Then they beat Edinburgh, and they're going to lose to Ulster. So it's also up and down. But the stats on this is 98% pick Glasgow for a win. So I think it's a safe bet there. I went Glasgow with 14 points.
Ospreys are also one of those teams that are sort of difficult to pick because they did run Leinster very close. I know it's not the star-studded Leinster that we know. But they beat like you said, Benetton with 43 points. So I'm still gonna go with Glasgow with the Glasgow Warriors, but yeah, I'm gonna say Glasgow Warriors by 14.
Okay, Sounds good.
Yeah, well, that's the games that we've got for the weekend. Um, Looking forward to seeing the team announcements and seeing the actual games and see how wrong you were with our picks.
Yes, hopefully we're not that wrong this weekend. I did get the yellow cup on Superbru last weekend, and I'm still chasing you, so I'm getting there.
Yeah, well, hopefully you don't catch up with. I think we have a lot of different opinions and teams who's going to win this weekend, so this will be around.
Hopefully
Could
this
be
will be
around.
this. Hopefully it will be, and then Monday morning, when you wake up and the dust has settled, you three or 4 points behind me.
Yeah, well, let's see. Cool. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And then we'll see you next week.
All right. Yes.
Cheers, cheers.